Hearing Go Changbom ask what they should do shocks the man. I said, "What should we do?" says Go Changbom, repeating his sentence. "I thought you had a plan," says the man in the black suit. Plan my ass. I just called the police to save people," says Go Changbom. "Then what about me?" mutters the man in the black suit, a bit confused seeing the chaotic situation and Go Changbom having no plan at all. After that, Go Changbom's phone rings, and it's a call from his father. Go Changbom, not knowing what to do, decides not to answer it. "I think that's the president. Should he answer the call?" asks the man in the black suit. "Don't interfere, just mind your own business," says Go Changbom. "Damn, how long will he keep calling me?" adds Go Changbom in his heart because the phone keeps ringing. A moment later, Kim Yun-sung calls Go Changbom, and he immediately answers it and runs off, leaving the man in the black suit alone. The scene changes to Go Myunjin's room. "Brother, are you crazy?" yells Go Chong-sok while slamming papers containing news about the incident this afternoon. The mistake Go Changbom made is a golden opportunity for him. As an ambitious person to take power, he'll definitely make good use of this chance. "People's lives are important, but what about our company?" asks Go Chong-sok coldly while adjusting his glasses. With his cunning, Go Chong-sok starts playing words to bring Go Changbom down in front of his father, words like "Do you know how much the losses are? Do you know I have to fix this problem?" Words like that are played by Go Chong-sok, like he cares about the company but actually he just wants to bring Go Changbom down and take over inheritance. "You called the whole of Decent just for this. You didn't just call the rescue team, but also the police and made reporters know faster. Changbom, how will you handle this problem?" says Go Myunjin coldly. Go Changbom pauses, thinking about what Hung Sung taught him before meeting his father. Hung Sung told him what his father is like, a monster in construction with his own pride. If there's a mistake involving workers' health, he'll definitely interfere, so don't back down or be afraid. Just keep going forward. After pausing and recalling what Hung Sung taught him, Go Changbom says, "Father, I think we should demolish the apartment and start again." Hearing this, both Go Myunjin, his father, and Go Chong-sok, his brother, are shocked. "Ha, I know you're a high school graduate, but at least have a reasonable excuse, like some workers did. Do you think the construction costs are from the bank? The interest rises every day. The interest always rises. Do you think it's fine just for one building?" says Go Chong-sok while holding back his anger. "Yeah, just for one building, that's why I suggested starting again. Like you said, it'll cause huge losses. I can't do complicated calculations, but I know how much. But more important than all that is trust. Do you know there are many construction companies with reputations below ours? In this case, we can only fix the damaged part and complete the construction. What did we think would happen?" says Go Changbom. "No one will buy it. Thanks for telling the whole city, at least we can reduce the losses instead of building a new apartment," says Go Chong-sok, mocking Go Changbom. "Chong-sok, we shouldn't prioritize money. What we should worry about is trust. And trust is now broken," snaps Go Changbom while looking at Go Chong-sok seriously. "If we admit our mistake while building the first apartment and show good results, it might not be a great way, but we can gain their trust, and it can be the foundation of Myunjin construction," adds Go Changbom. Go Chong-sok, hearing this, smiles and says, "Are you really an idealist or what? We're a company. We have to prioritize our profits over," but before he can finish, Go Myunjin says, "My eldest son has finally grown up." Incidents like this have happened to Myunjin construction before, at a different time. Back then, Go Myunjin himself mentioned that his subordinates hid the incident and showed the philosophy of building. Go Myunjin turns and walks slowly while saying, "Do you know what makes me angry about this incident? The fact is, we made a mistake in the basics of pouring concrete. That mistake should never happen under the name of Myunjin construction no matter what. A house is where people live. Safety is our priority, everything else is thrown away." While standing in front of Go Changbom, Go Myunjin calls him, and he's responded to warmly by Go Changbom. "Good job. I thought you were living life without thinking. But it seems you've grown up like I did in my youth. Myunjin Company is a company. But it's also a family company that prioritizes the value of a home. Remember that, and you'll be able to follow in my footsteps," says Go Myunjin. Hearing the praise Go Changbom receives makes Go Chong-sok even more irritated. The praise that should have been his, the plan to take advantage of this incident totally failed. A few days later, at the hospital, one of the accident victims has to have both legs amputated. I think we need to amputate both his legs, says the hospital nurse. Hearing this, the victim's wife can only cry, not knowing what to do. Of the people who had the accident, everyone only had minor injuries, and only one had to go into surgery. The wife of the victim who's being amputated goes and sits at a table to calm herself down with her older brother. "Brother, what should we do now? What should I tell my kids?" says the victim's wife with sadness. "Calm down first. People from Myunjin company will arrive soon," says the victim's wife's brother, trying to calm her down. "I don't think I'll be able to talk to them. I heard construction companies don't pay hospital bills or compensation," says the victim's wife worriedly. A moment later, Go Changbom with two men in black suits arrives in front of the two people and immediately says, "Mrs. Kim Un-suk." The two people look at Go Changbom confused. And without waiting, Go Changbom with the two people following him immediately bow and say, "We're here on behalf of the company, and we want to sincerely apologize for the incident that happened. Some time ago, on the way, Go Changbom called Hung Sung to ask for advice on what to do. Because of his father's words to keep going. And his father for the first time has expectations of him, so Go Changbom doesn't want to disappoint his father. Handle the problem first. There are two types of cases in this problem. One is easy. If we promise them a period of payment deferment, loan interest payment, adjustment of selling price, and transparency of construction procedures, then we should be able to calm them down. And the second case is the person who had the accident. Do as much as you can to help them, as much as making them proud to work at Myunjin company. That's Hung Sung's advice to Go Changbom, who's on his way to the hospital to meet the accident victim. Back to the present, the two men following Go Changbom immediately sit in chairs in front of the victim's family and say, "This accident is entirely our fault. It's Myunjin company's mistake. Money can't solve the pain you feel about the accident that happened to your loved one, but we want to try our best," says the man in the suit. The victim's family hearing this suddenly look at each other, not believing what they just heard, where rumors say other construction companies don't pay hospital bills when accidents happen. But Myunjin Construction Company not only blames their employee but also wants to help. The news immediately makes the victim's sister-in-law feel relieved. Her worries disappear. "Really?" says the victim's sister. "Of course, you'll have your hospital bills paid, and we'll pay other costs separately. Not only that, we'll also recruit your husband in a department that needs his skills. Your husband has worked for Myunjin Construction Company long enough. We won't forget his hard work," explains the man in the black suit with glasses, and he immediately hands over a contract. Seeing the contract and how caring Myunjin Construction Company is makes both families suddenly cry. The victim's wife, who can't believe the news, cries while continuously thanking Go Changbom and the two men in black suits. The scene changes to nighttime, in front of the hospital. Go Changbom is sitting on the stairs smoking with a man in a black suit with glasses standing in front of him. "Hey, tell me, what do you think about construction building?" asks Go Changbom. "Haha, I don't know how to build buildings," answers the man in the suit with glasses. "I think our company was just about making money until now. But this incident made me think a lot more," says Go Changbom. "Really?" asks the man in the black suit with glasses.